Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Maurice, and I'm a senior at DeKalb School of the Arts.
Hey, y'all. I'm Dana, and I am also a senior at Chamblee High School. And this is
The Lunchroom, where we discuss hot topics and just keep students in the know. So, Dana, summer is literally a week away. Are you excited?
Yes and no at the same time, because I'm doing some musical in the summer and I'm rehearsing 6 days a week until July. But it'll be fun. It's going to be worth it. What about you?
Well, I'm getting a job this summer. I'm thinking of working at Topgolf, so we'll see how that goes.
As you should.
Yeah, we'll see. But today is actually an important topic because we're going to be discussing bullying. Now, we know that this is a sensitive topic for many people, victims of bullying, or if you have been a bully. We're just here to help and to get you some, real information that actually will be helpful for you. So today we have a special guest. We have Dr. Quentin Fretwell with the Department of Student Relations. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am living.
Yes, we are alive.
Living.
Yes.
So what is DeKalb County's Bullying Stops Here awareness campaign?
Well, thank you for asking, and thank you for this opportunity to share information that I think will be helpful not only to our students and to our staff, but also to our community. And I hope that you will help us in sharing the word and bringing awareness. That's why it's called the Bullying Awareness Campaign, because it's not just anti-bullying. Anti-bullying, in my humble opinion, means you have a rule. If you break the rule, then you get a consequence. But it's got to be more than that. The research is very clear that in order to address student bullying in schools, there has to be a comprehensive approach. And so all the research that started back in the United States back in 1969 up until now has shown us that we've got to address bullying in schools. We've got to address it. We got to be serious about it. We got to handle it swiftly, but we got to have a comprehensive approach. So the Bullying Stops Here awareness campaign that began in 2010-2011 school year, when the state of Georgia changed the law as it relates to bullying in schools. The state law said that all school districts must either create a policy or revise their policy as it relates to bullying in schools. So DeKalb County School District has had a bullying policy since 1999. However, we didn't want to just revise the policy, but we wanted to do more. And we wanted to do something big and helpful for the safety and well-being of our scholars. And also understand that, and I always say this, that young people, you can't learn 2 + 2 in school if you don't feel safe. And so therefore, we set about to not only just revise policy, but have a campaign. And that's why it's called the bullying. It was called then the Bullying Awareness Campaign. It's now called the Bullying Stops Here awareness campaign. And the whole idea is to bring awareness to everyone, to students, to staff, to administrators, teachers, and also to our parents and to the public. Because bullying is not just a school thing. Bullying is a societal issue. We're mandated to address student bullying, but we also know that there's bullying in homes. There's bullying between adults. There's bullying in workplaces. There's prison bullying. Bullying happens all over the place. In fact, how do you all learn to bully in school? It's a learned behavior.
Bullied.
Yeah.
It's not something you grow up with. You're born and you go, wham, I'm gonna bully. That's not the case.
Yeah, it's a whole process.
It's a learned process, and so everybody needs to be aware of their own behavior. And one of the key things that in our training to adults and to the staff is be a good model of appropriate behavior. So the Bullying Awareness Campaign involves a comprehensive process of training, awareness. We have 2 school liaisons in every school who promote and facilitate activities during the course of the year. Each month has a monthly topic, and we ask that schools have a club even for students. I don't care what you call it, but have a club because you need to get the students involved.
No place for hate.
Well, and No Place for Hate. No Place for Hate is kind of Bullying Stops Here on steroids. Okay? And so, but it's all together. And when in the past we said you can have no place for hate, but you can have the bullying awareness campaign. But you got to do something because we got to help students. So it involves training, it involves awareness, it involves activities, it involves doing creative things, it involves data review, it involves taking care of incidents when they occur, very swift and quickly. There's a timeline. We don't dawdle. If it happens, we're going to have it. The schools are going to have it investigated by the following day. It's going to be dealt with. Okay.
Yeah,
and even
if
it's found not to be bullying, at least we dealt with and we help kids understand they can be kind to each other. The goal is to teach students to be kind, respectful, empathic, thoughtful.
Thank you.
And considerate to each other and others.
So I know that a bunch of people probably have different, or not necessarily different, but different opinions on what bullying really is. So what is your definition of bullying?
Well, and I'm glad you asked that question, because bullying actually is a very, very specific type of misbehavior. Unfortunately, bullying has become, and I'm gonna give you all a word in academic circles. Okay, bullying has become a term in the lexicon. Okay, it's a term in the language, and people say things are bullying when it's not bullying, or use bullying to defend something or something like that, and it becomes just a word that's thrown out. But bullying is a very specific term, and bullying involves basically three components. It involves an intent to cause harm. It's unwanted aggression. And so I am Quentin, and I want to make you hurt because I don't like your hair, or I don't like your glasses, or something that makes me feel like that you're weaker and I want to make myself stronger. And so and you're not doing anything to me. I'm targeting you to cause you hurt. That's why we call the victims of bullying targets. We don't call them necessarily victims, but you're a target. So it's an intentional act to cause harm, which creates what's called an imbalance of power. I'm exerting this power over you to cause you to hurt, either physically, verbally, socially, relationally, emotionally, things of that nature, okay? And then I'm either going to repeat it, or I want to repeat it, but it's stopped before I can repeat it again. So it's repeated or has the potential to be repeated. So there are some situations in which it may not happen again, but I intend to do it again, but I got stopped before I could do it again. So just because it's one time doesn't mean that it's not bullying. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's this very specific type of misbehavior, and because it's a very specific misbehavior that I'm targeting to cause you hurt, it's not mutual conflict, it's not mutual play. We're not doing the dozens together and going back and forth each other, something like that, joning each other, things like that. I am at you, okay?
So what should someone do if they're being bullied? And how is that different from being an elementary kid, middle school, and high school? Because it going up to each level, bullying escalates.
Yeah,
it starts with first shoving on playgrounds to people putting posts about you on social media in high school and calling you out. So what can you tell us that can help all these different age groups?
Well, and I would advise anyone who's interested. There's one wonderful site that you can go to, and it's the federal site. It's hosted by the Department of Health and Human Services, but it's called stopbullying.gov. And on there's this whole section you can click on. It talks about what children can do. And also, let me back up for a second. On our DeKalb County School District website, we have a wonderful website that has information and tons of resources, okay? And there's one section that talks about what can students do. Well, in answer to your question, one of the things, there's several things, and it's different depending on the situation. You can walk away. But above all, we also ask that, you let an adult know. Tell an adult. And in fact, if you don't want to give it, you can report it anonymously if you like. But tell an adult. We also say, sometimes they on some of the sites and resources they say, well, try to laugh it off.
That's what I do.
Don't give the impression that is getting under your skin. Okay, you can, and one thing it says is that you can, get involved with school, engage in school, get involved with activities. That way, you gain a group of friends, and then you kind of
support.
Build your not only with the support, but you kind of build your own self up. Okay, so you're not seeming to be that target of being bullied. Okay. Also, if you are a person who witnesses bullying, we also always say that you can be an upstander and not a bystander.
What does that mean?
Okay. Well, just look at what the term says. An upstander as opposed to being a bystander, because an upstander
stand up and
a bystander.
Stand by and do nothing.
Okay, if you're witnessing it, you can do things like go to the target being bullied and say, "Come with me." You can befriend that person. You can invite that person to be in some of the groups you're involved in. But more so than anything else, you can make sure you let an adult know.
Definitely, I think that's like the most important thing, personally. So, are there different types of bullying? I noticed in the campaign.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, like it included in the campaign like harassment and hazing. So why does it include that? And are those like the different types of bullying?
Well, and that's thank you for asking that, because in this whole comprehensive approach, we took a look at everything. And now even there was a bill in the state of Georgia just this past legislative session that was seeking to add hazing to the bullying. There is a hazing statute, but we're seeking to add hazing to the bullying statute. Because when you really look at this, and I'm proud to say that even in my doctoral work, my dissertation was on bullying. So this is something that's dear to me. But you have general bullying, but then you also have harassment. And harassment is kind of the same type of bullying behavior. Sometimes may not necessarily be completely intentional.
Or like direct.
But it's the same type of targeting to cause harm, or the same type of actions to cause harm. The difference is in the motivation. When I said bullying, I said, I don't like your hair, or I think you just, I just don't like you, or something of that nature. So I'm going to mess with you. Well, harassment deals with you are of a particular ethnicity, or you're a particular race, or you're a particular color, or you have a disability, or you have a different religion, or something, the protected groups. And so I am dealing with you. My motivation is you're Buddhist, and I don't like Buddhists. So every time I see you, I'm going to, or you're Muslim and you wear the head covering, I'm trying to pull your head covering off, and things of that nature. So the motivation with harassment, which is a legal thing, deals with I'm messing with you because you belong to a particular group.
So it's, I'm sorry.
Now hazing, as you very well know, people equate that hazing to be college, frats, sorors, things of that nature. But there's hazing going on in middle and high schools all over this country. Not just and we're not talking about just, like sports or, you've heard band and things of that nature. But think about the Key Club or the Kappa Club or the Third Hall Every Thursday Club or something of that nature, and hazing involves anything that you are either made to do or is done to you harmfully to either join a group or to increase your rank in the group. And so the hurt and the harm that goes into that is the same situation like with bullying, harassment. And it does not, it has nothing to do with whether or not you actually choose to participate because you're trying to get in a group. It's still wrong.
some of these things that you have been talking about can seem traumatic. So are there like short and long-term effects of bullying that you can like recall or that you know of?
That's why we have to address it, and that's why we have to deal with it. Because what we found out, as I told you, the research in the United States, but the research started back in Scandinavian countries. But in fact, there's some research back in the Scandinavian countries. They called it mobbing.
Mobbing.
That was the term for bullying. Mobbing.
Kids these days may mob in a whole new different
No,
word.
literally.
I understand, but that's back in the 50s. And so the reason why we have to address it is because and let me use this term as it's stated in a study, in a research video I saw. A lot of people know there's maybe a short-term bad, but there's also a long-term bad. Yeah, bullying can affect you where you feel like you don't want to go to school, or withdraw from activities, or you're feeling sick or something like that. But now we know that there's a long-term bad. And for some scholars, and they've done studies 10, 20 years with people, that they still have some of the same issues because they were bullied in school. Think about a student who does not want to come to school because they're being bullied. Well, look at what happens in the workplace. And I'm in my workplace and someone does something to me, because like I said, there's workplace bullying, right? Somebody bullies me in the workplace, makes me feel like that same 11-year-old when I was in middle school. That person may not go back to work the next day, or worst off, may quit.
Because it's a whole mental type process that you
Right.
kind of get stuck in when you go through a traumatic event like that.
So think about bullying as now we're finding out bullying is like an abusive relationship. Think about domestic violence. Well, think about the relationship between a perpetrator or offender of bullying and the target. Think about that. There's a relationship there, and that relationship is abusive. You have persons who may have substance abuse issues, may have relationship issues, because you have three categories. You have the bully, you have the target, and then you have what's called the bully target or the bully victim.
So what's the bully victim or the bully target?
The bully victim or the bully target is a person who gets bullied on one side. They're the target, but then in retaliation to them being bullied, they also bully other people. And the research shows that they may have even more problems, not only in the short term, but the long term. We're finding out now that some people who've been bullied in school, and also the bullies have problems too. Because the bullies end up having issues with relationships, domestic violence, perpetrators of domestic violence, law situations, criminal violations, things of that nature. But they find out that the bully target has even more issues. And we're finding out now things like with bullies and bully targets, PTSD. Think about it. You wake up in the morning, you can't go to sleep because one thing about PTSD is you relive the situation. You keep reliving the incidents.
Yeah.
So you can't go to sleep, so you're sleep deprived. You all don't go to sleep very much now anyway. But think about I know I was a student too, so I know that even but you don't get much sleep now. But then think about the person who doesn't get any sleep and they're sleep deprived because they keep thinking about, when I get on the bus, what's going to happen? When I go to the hallway, what's going to happen? So on and so forth.
And then when those things happen, they don't even have the energy to really deal with it in an effective way.
So you understand with PTSD, you have this thing of shock, and you always, you're just reliving the situation. You're having, and what they're finding out too is that we've had some scholars who, they tell the mom in the morning, "Mom, I don't want to go to school. I'm sick," right? Well, those are called psychosomatic illnesses. This is just in your head, okay? But you're upset because you're being bullied. But what they find out now is bullying may affect the immune system. And so a person who's being bullied may be more susceptible to colds and things of that nature.
Why do you think that is? Like, because their body's
Because
under
of
stress?
go back to what I said earlier. This very specific behavior of targeting somebody to cause hurt. I'm trying to go to school. I'm trying to be a good person, and you're messing with me. You understand that?
Like I'm trying to mind my business, and you're stressing me out.
You're bothering me, or you're making it so everybody else, like for instance, cyberbullying. Okay, I'm putting on cyberbullying. Susan, hot or not, and think about how many people may chime in and said,
Not. And how that would make Susan feel if she's looking at people telling or saying
right. All those kind of things. That's called social isolation. Or making rumors. Hey, did you hear about Quinn?
and then
spreads around. How's it?
And then it has misinformation by the time it comes back.
Yes.
Exactly. And now you don't even know what rumor really is going around because there's so many. So what would you advise someone who is being cyberbullied? Like, how could they deal with that situation if they're at home? Or, like who's somebody that they could talk to or reach out to for support?
Well, see, the first mistake we make is we and I say we adults, the first mistake we make is we say, well, get off Facebook. I mean, I know Facebook is old. I get
It's
it.
because of that darn phone.
Yeah.
But
Oh my
the first
God.
thing we say is, get off, but if I got 5 friends who are still on, what are they going to do? They're going to come tell me, I saw your name, we got to, you need to let an adult know, and we need to have some conversations. And in fact, and I need to be very clear for some of our scholars, that some forms of cyberbullying can be criminal. So you need, whatever it is, you didn't understand, don't do anything in cyberspace that you wouldn't do face-to-face. Because that's what cyberbullying is about. It's that anonymity kind of thing, or because there's this separation, I feel like I can say and do things that I normally wouldn't say.
And people get more comfortable doing that because they're not in the moment.
I remember when for volleyball we have to do some type of certification and we have to watch videos about bullying and trafficking and things as such. And I know as well, coaches can be bullies as well. Even though there are adults, you may be at practice and they may be saying something to really get you angry, like, you can do this, but you can't do this in practice or in games. So if a student is feeling scared to not tell another adult, what should they do? Especially if it's like an admin.
Well, we recognize that there may be some situations, because this is people business. And we're all human beings. We all have different thoughts, mindsets, different actions, things of that nature. And so you understand that we do recognize that if a student, in talking with their parent, feels like there's something they need to share relative to adult kind of situation, because we don't dismiss it. But there are procedures to address that. Now, it's not the same procedures as with the student-on-student bullying and things of that nature, the bullying reporting form and things that, they are complaint procedures, things of that nature. But I always say the best thing to do is speak to an adult, okay? Things will be handled, but things cannot be handled if we don't have a conversation.
I think that's really important. Do you have any contact information for anyone that might have any more questions, or, if someone needs to reach out to somebody?
Well, certainly can look in the Code of Student Conduct, and there's information there. Also, the DeKalb School District website, because there's various ways of reporting anything from bullying, harassment, hazing, to significant violence, to weapons, drugs, things of that nature. The school district has ethics line or ethics point. There's also with the DeKalb County Department of Public Safety, there's See Something, Say Something. There's also a state 1877 Say Stop that's reported to the state. That's answered by the GBI. and there's also just there's the bullying reporting form as we have, and that can be even a anonymous report. So there's various ways, but I will say this. You mentioned training and things of that nature. In this whole campaign, everyone gets trained, and we train staff and administrators on addressing bullying quickly. And even if someone feels like something has not been done, there's ways of redressing that. So it's not like if you feel like something has been done here, that's it. There's always another level to go to, and that's not secret. However, there is a bullying reporting form, and that could be turned in even anonymously. You just don't write your name. Okay, and but there's many ways of being able to report, and above all, if there's something going on, we can't deal with it if we don't know about it. And that's the one key thing. And I want to press upon that we can't deal with it if we don't know about it. And
Definitely.
so let somebody know. We will help.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's very important. Thank you for coming today and sharing all this important information. Like, this was definitely an eye-opener.
Especially, need to get rid of some habits and do things the correct way when people are being bullied. And I appreciate you for coming here to speak.
The most important thing is being kind, respectful to each other, knowing that we can be a help to each other. We can sometimes lift a person up who's having a bad day, but no matter what the differences are, no matter what the perceived differences are, that does not give anyone a right to mistreat someone.
Like Logic says, peace, love, and positivity.
Definitely. And it's okay to reach out for help if it's necessary.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today. It's not snitching, literally.
It's not snitching.
But thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
And of course. And thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned for the next episode of The Lunchroom.
See y'all later.